You're live on the JoyNews channel and you're watching UPFront with me, Blessed Sogah. The New Patriotic Party is off to an early start when it comes to their reorganization after suffering a massive defeat in the last general elections. Both at the presidential and parliamentary levels, the party suffered major setbacks, and it's the reason for which the party is now on to an early start of their reorganization process. In a unique fashion, the NPP will now start its reorganization from the top and not from the usual bottom as we know it, starting off by branch reorganization all the way to the presidential exercise. Let me give you a sense of what's now going to happen within the New Patriotic Party, and you have excerpts of that on your screens now. Speaking entirely about, the countdown to the 2028 general elections, we have exactly 3 years and some months more to go. And that's what you need to know about. We are counting down to the days that we have to the elections. 3 years, 5 months, and of course 2 days is what we have going into the 2028 general elections. And beyond that as well, we know that if you move beyond the countdown itself, the New Patriotic Party is of importance to us because that will by far be the main opposition party going into the presidential elections. Some faces and names are already out within the party in terms of individuals who are hoping to win the trust of the delegates going into the elections. So there you have the last presidential candidate of the party in the last elections, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who served as vice president of the erstwhile NPP administration, who's facing equal competition from 3 others. Ken Ejapon is there, Brian Echampon, and the former education minister, Yao Osei Educhum. So for now, these are the individuals that we keep hearing and seeing some indications that they may be jostling for the main race when it happens. And the timeline is out already by the New Patriotic Party. What they intend to do now is to do the National Delegates Conference in the month of July. And that will open the processes that will lead to the ultimate, the election of the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, which will happen on January 31st, 2026. But that's where the unique situation is arising, because now the party, unlike before, will start its reorganization process with the presidential primaries at the start of 2026, using the same voter album and the names that elected the last set of leadership. So here's a sense of the electoral college for you. Because the New Patriotic Party, in terms of its electoral college, will have the National Council members also represented there, regional constituency and polling station executives. You will have the current and also past national officers of the party, MPs, ministers, MMDCs, and the list goes on even to the tertiary institutions. Because you have TESCON, you have the external branches, and also the Council of Elders of the party, some of whom have started speaking already, including the likes of the former president, John Ajay Kufuor. We'll give you a sense of what he's been saying, but there's also the electoral coordinators who are featuring on this very electoral college that we are talking about. But there are bigger concerns within the party. The need to perhaps revise this electoral college and to look at alternatives and making it more representative and inclusive as the party does its reorganization exercise. So that's a sense of what's happening within the party. But in terms of the Council of Elders and some of the key figures and stalwarts within the NPP who have started speaking out, that includes the former president, John Ajay Kufuor, who is now reflecting on why the party is where it is today. Listen to excerpts when he was speaking and addressing some party faithful.
A party, we tend to be too self-centered. Kokorodu, I've told you, Buzia was a very lone member of the then parliament in the 1950s. The Northern People's Party came to that house. Buzia was there before the NPP came. I think NPP came in 54. But Buzia had been there from Legislative Council to Legislative Assembly. But Legislative was a lone member against the very powerful machinery highly organized machinery of CPP. But the way he performed and the principles he upheld, I believe those were the things that made the Northern People's Party, entering parliament then, or assembly, decide, look, you are alone, but be our leader. I hope you are getting the point. See, at this point, I would want to ask you, what's a party for? What is the central purpose of party? Yeah? To win power. That's I would say, the only purpose. If you are a party and you are not winning, once I said, people thought I was being too simplistic. I said, you might be better off being a messenger in a winning party than a general secretary that has no party. The purpose of party is to win power. We don't seem to want to learn. Please. We happen to be living in times. See, when I went to Parliament in 1969, the population of Ghana was just 10 million people. The whole Ghana. 10 million. As we speak now, population has moved to almost 40 million. I'm sure it might be even more. Full of youngsters who may not know anything of traditions. We are talking democracy. We are talking rule of law, accountable governance. We are talking private sector. Because we believe in wealth creation. Not because we are greedy, no.
And of course, excerpts of the statement by former President John Agyekum-Kufuor, who's also been touching on a wide array of issues. In fact, you see that in our subsequent bulletins. But clearly, he says the party doesn't seem to be learning from its mistakes. So how do we correct that? And who are some of the individuals jostling to lead the party into that phase of change? I have one MP who's outspoken, and of course, he always shares his views when he feels his party is not going right. Eugene Boakye-Antwi, who's my guest for tonight here on UPFront. He is former Subin MP and also former Deputy Western House Minister. It's good to be with you, and thank you for joining us on UPFront.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Are you happy as a member of the NPP now?
Oh, yes. I mean, why not? I mean, these are turbulent times for our party, but President Kufuor is right in everything that he says there, that we've gone into a major election. We've lost abysmally. We formed a committee to delve into the matters that led to the loss. The report has since been submitted to the National Executive Committee. I would have thought that at this critical stage, the most important thing to focus on is how to reorganize the party. And by reorganizing, 2024 was not just a political loss. It was a wake-up call, a big wake-up call to the party. Some of the factors were enumerated by the former president. We lost because our systems were just too rigid. Our messaging became disconnected from the grassroots, and our leadership culture sometimes came across as entitled. Reorganization is it's more than restructuring, and it's also about reconnecting, rebuilding trust, and aligning our party with the people who built it. The soul of the NPP must be restored before we can go on to win. You rightly said he was a member of parliament in 1969. There were about 10 million population. It's now over 30 million. So many people born after the last time we had a coup d'etat in this country, 1981.
Right.
They probably don't have any strong affinity or connection to any of the parties. They just, based on how the cost of living, standard of living is, decide to vote either way. What have we learned? I mean, there was the economic hardship in our second term. There was a debt exchange program and a loss of goodwill. People lost money. People lost the DDEP was a top-down policy. People lost their savings, people lost pensions, people lost investments. And these hit the party. And one would have thought that after the Okwe Committee report, we would have teased out the recommendations, sat around the table, get a few wonks in a room to go through the report and tease out the relevant portions that, ought to be shared by the entire party and take decisions from it. But we've not done that.
Are you saying that as a key member of the NPP, you have not cited details of the Okwe report?
Well, no. Well, it's supposed to be, a secret document. That is fine. But we ought to know what is it that the Okwe report is recommending, or the Okwe committee is recommending, for us to take a bold step in terms of, reorganizing our party. Like I said, the domestic debt exchange didn't just impact the economy.
Yeah.
It wounded trust. It wounded trust. And we must never again impose pain without dialogue. The people of this country were assured that their pensions won't be touched, but it was touched.
So your expectation is that some of these issues should have been captured in the report. Have you made any attempts, as a former MP of the party, a leading figure within the party, to try and inquire from the leadership of the NPP now, the current crop of executives, as to why they're not opening up on that? I
don't think, like Riley said, as a former member of parliament, a former deputy minister, as a senior member of the party now, I think I have a fair idea why we lost. And if there's anything to go by, I want to talk about yesterday, thank you, Tor. I think the first day in the Western region, he mentioned a few of the factors that led to the loss, reshuffle, DDEP, name it. He mentioned a few of them that led to the loss. So we are aware of the loss. But my concern is why we are trying to rush to select the next presidential candidate of the party. That's my concern.
In fact, that's how the party is starting off, surprisingly, because in the last reorganization...
Is that part of the recommendations?
Well, question for the gods, I believe.
Yes, so see, these are the things that ought to be brought to the table. Is that what the Okwe committee recommended? If not, then whose interest is it to push it? You must be the national chairman or general secretary of the party, not for a flag bearer. Nobody can win power without a formidable party. I keep drumming this on, people don't get it.
And when you say a formidable party, what makes a party stronger? A good presidential candidate or, members of the party electing executives before the presidential candidate?
You see, people are conveniently, and I've seen former legislators who are conveniently reading the party's constitution selectively. This is a holistic document. So you cannot just take an article of it and run with it. You understand? Article 10, National Organization, for the benefit of the readers.
Yes.
It says that there shall be a national organization of the party, which shall consist of the National Annual Delegates Conference, that's supreme, right? Followed by the National Congress. That's where we elect our presidential candidates. Right. National Council, National Executive Committee, and the National Steering Committee. So all the processes are rooted in here. The role of the National Council, which conveniently they are refusing to talk to people about, is they make it appear that the National Council is the final authority. It's not. There's a National Council, there shall be a National Council, subject to the decisions of the National Annual Delegates Conference. So it's captured there. So why are they not reading these portions out? Why are they sticking to Article 13? As I said, this is a holistic document. Right. As a legislator,
the NPP Constitution.
Yes, when I'm reading documents, as a national constitution, you can pick an article, but that is just an article of it. You understand? You must refer to other portions of it, and that's what we are not doing. All our electoral processes in electing everybody are rooted here in the NPP Constitution. And it's only the conference, the national conference that is stated there, that's the supreme governing body of the party, that has the power to amend this constitution. What they are talking about, or what was discussed, I was not in the country at the time, that the election of the presidential candidate will come first, and by the end of 31st of January, we should have done that. It's totally at variance with the constitution of the party. Totally at variance. Because what the NPP constitution is saying is that, and President Kufuor also made reference to that, the party is built like a pyramid. At the very bottom of that pyramid is the polling station. They form about, I would say, between 85 to 90% of the party, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have electoral area coordinators. And then you have the constituency executives. Then you have the regional executives, the national executives, the parliamentary party, and all of that to form the electoral college. And in every election cycle, I'm speaking as a member of parliament.
Right.
In every election cycle, I was entitled to 5 rounds of voting. I voted in my constituency elections as a MP. I voted in the regional elections as coming from the region. I voted in the national elections. I voted in the presidential elections, and I voted in my own parliamentary primaries. That's one cycle.
Yeah.
Whatever decision that was taken at council, which is binding, fine, but it's generated a lot of heat because they are saying that council is the final authority. And it isn't. According to the constitution, it isn't.
Aside that.
Bear with me. Bear with me.
Yeah.
So, now, we are going to use the same electoral album that elected our last presidential candidates to elect a fresh presidential candidate for the 2028 elections. It will create problems. It will create problems. Why would it create problems? It's a new thing that we want to introduce, right, by voting from the top to the bottom. So you need consensus. You need cooperation. The polling station executives now, their tenure will be coming to an end around February. That's assuming, because I was an MP there.
Yes.
Electoral area coordinators by March. Constituency executives by April of 2026. Regional, national by July, all of them will be out. So the first 6 months of next year, we can do all these elections. Or we can even do it even after the July conference. Start with polling station all the way to December, and then elect the flag bearer. Anybody, and any serious party person who thinks that by electing a flag bearer, there will be no noise at the base, it's on a different planet. You understand? Because the polling station executives, the coordinators and what have you, are the ones who will be electing the flag bearer, who will be out there campaigning for that flag bearer. So you are saying that, okay, let's elect the flag bearer, and then after that you go and conduct elections for the rest of the electoral process. What then happens is that somebody has elected the flag bearer for you, so they can then come and decide not to even campaign.
I was about asking you the question as to what will happen eventually. With or without the election of new constituency, ward chairpersons, regional executives, you would definitely go through that rigorous exercise of selecting the next presidential candidate of the party. So whichever side you're looking at it from, that is an exercise that must happen. So if it's happening early, what's wrong with that exercise that will eventually happen?
It's happening early, but you are using the same college that elected Dr. Baumia the last time. And majority of people think that decision must come from conference. It's not National Council. If, yes, we feel that we need stability, we need that, we need this, so we must deal with the selection first, it must go to conference. Because National Council is made up of 120 people. A few regional executives, national steering committee, yes. But conference is made up of all constituency executives, all regional executives, party stakeholders, MPs, what have you. So it's a larger group of about 3,000 to 4,000 people who will be gathering in Legon then take a decision on this particular provision. If you say that, it's okay, let's do the election, you can do the election, but you have not solved the problem because we have serious organization to do, reorganization to do, as far as the NPP is concerned.
But where lies the problem when you find colleagues of yours or former colleagues of yours and declaring support already for some of the candidates? You have former MMDCs doing unofficial or side events and engagements with some of the prospective contestants in the race. If you have these individuals coming out clearly to say, we solidarize with you, we support this candidate or candidate B, they don't seem to find anything wrong with the process.
The MMDC is, as it stands, we are in opposition, so they don't even have a vote, unless the constitution is amended. They only vote when we are in office. We are not out of office. So every MMDC that you know or you see doesn't have a vote. And we are now trying to implement those by getting all former appointees, former ministers, deputy ministers, MMDCs, former MPs, all that, to now have a vote. So what is the business of these MMDCs going around, purporting to, have a vote? They don't have a vote. If we're in government, yes, they voted in the 2023 one. But as it speaks, this constitution, they don't have a vote. Another details of this constitution.
But for the MPs, they do have a vote.
The MPs do, yes.
But they are already going ahead, declaring support for some.
No, well, that's an entirely different matter.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, the reason why I'm pointing to that is it appears from the MP's perspective, and they are a broader representative of the base of the party, they don't seem to find anything wrong with that approach, having the elections of the presidential candidates first. You are one of the very few voices raising concerns about that.
No, I'm not one of the few. I'm not one of the few voices. It's because they've hijacked the entire party communication structure. Yes, that's what's happening, and they are not listening to any dissenting view, so to speak. So that is what it appears. Because at that meeting, senior members of the party left the meeting. The former General Secretary, John Boadu, was in Kumasi. I was with him over the weekend at a function where he took us through the Constitution and said that all decisions that took place or that were agreed upon at the Alisa meeting will be subject to conference. He said it. So, it's just that, these are the people that should be appearing on such programs to talk about the history of the party and the details of this constitution. So, all those who are being disingenuous and being selective in the application of the MPP constitution must stop. Must stop.
If the party proceeds to elect a candidate by January of next year, what would you lose, as the NPP?
You see, I've said it, but I don't know why you want me to repeat myself. I would do my best to repeat myself. Every delegate has a 4-year cycle. Every delegate, yes. And I use my own situation as an example. Yes. So why are you getting one delegate to have 2 election cycles when they have not gone to renew their mandate? You understand? Yes. And the Okwe report is out. We are looking at expanding the college. We are looking at, clear guidelines for party appointment. There's so many things that we have to do to even get to that stage. What is the rush?
What do you suspect?
No. Even if you elect the person today, they can't campaign. What is it to campaign about? President Mahama has only been in power for 6 months. What are you going to campaign on? He has so much goodwill that even nobody will listen to you. So what's the rush? So we should fix the party first. Yes, because the party is the vehicle that will give you victory. So if the party is not fixed and you elect this person, I can assure you this person is going to be elected and will not have anything to do apart from having meetings in Accra till maybe 2027.
But you have the advantage of time. From next year at least, you have 2 years maximum as a candidate to campaign. You agree?
What are you going to campaign on? Ghanaians are not listening to us as we speak. Don't you know that? Ghanaians have switched off the MPP. That's why this administration is getting away with murder. Ghanaians are not interested. There's so much goodwill. We've been there in 2017. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has so much goodwill. Now, nobody was interested in John Mahama. We've been here before. That's what President Kufuor said, that we don't learn from history. History has taught us that we don't learn from history. For the next 18 months, Ghanaians will not listen to us.
18, you say?
Yes. Yes, because they've switched off. Right? And they want to see, because, they've only been in power for 6 months.
Right.
And please, you get less profit, please, give them chance. That's the thing of the guy. You hear people on the airwaves. That is why they are getting away. There are a lot of things that this government is doing, getting rid of people from the workplace, dismissals and what have you. But, when you talk about it, who is interested? Do you understand? So it clearly shows you that they are not listening to us. So this is the time for us to organize our party, organize ourselves well, go through our internal elections, crown it with the election of the presidential candidate. Even if that takes the whole of next year, it's not a bad thing. Yes, you are saying, no, there's too much division, there's too much. But you see, when you're in opposition, what do people do? This is not the first time we go to opposition. We went to opposition in 2009 with Kufuor. And he was elected in 2010, right? 2 years after the defeat. Again, he was elected in 2014. So what's the rush of getting this election done? Do
you feel this will give some advantage to the NDC? At least they'll be able to predict observe who you would bring forward to inform their choice of...
my focus is not the NDC. My focus is the NPP. You see? We are their main opponents. But my focus is not my focus is us. How we fix this party. Fix it, rebuild trust, make it attractive again, bringing discipline, ensuring unity. These are the things that you have to be doing. And you have not done that. You usually want to go for an election, thinking that by selecting the presidential candidate, everybody will go quiet. Is that what they are thinking? Or is that what we are thinking?
But look at some of the names that we've seen already. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Dr. Yause Duchum have all come out. Kennedy Ejapon has done same. Brian Achampon is also in the race. These are people that you all respect. Some of them are your former colleagues in Parliament. These are people who control quite some significant constituency within the party. Don't you feel that by electing them first, they can unite everyone and carry on everyone?
You see, you have some first-timers, apart from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Honorable Kennedy Ejapon. All of them are freshers.
Yeah.
And maybe Honorable Wache Jakutu will come, Kennedy Ejapon will come.
Or some other names may join.
Yes. But Honorable Brian Achampon, Honorable Dr. Duchum, they are freshers. And they have to tour the country. They have to tour the 276 constituencies. They have to go and sell their message. And do you think that those 6 months will be enough to wage any serious campaign? I keep saying that we should take our time to fix our party. The most important thing is to fixing the party first, getting the structures working, getting everybody on board. I've been told that the National Executive Committee will be meeting the aspirants. Right. Early next month.
Yeah.
You see, you have to sit them around the table, ask them. They are the ones who are going to participate in that election. You understand? Ask them, what do you prefer? Do you prefer early? Do you prefer late? They are the ones who are going to be spending money. They are the ones who are going to go around the country. Ask them. And they say, look, you know what? If you can push it, because the same constitution says that council may vary the date. You understand? So if you sit them down and say, oh yeah, the January is too early, let's do it maybe in July, let's do it maybe in December. They are the ones who are going to participate in the game. The party must allow it, right? It's the party that must enforce discipline. It's not a presidential candidate. It's the party's job to instill discipline within the ranks of the party. It's not a presidential candidate's job. You understand? You can go to conference today, you can go to Congress today, somebody is declared winner. But that doesn't mean that the noise in the party is going to go away. You understand? Because the leader or the presidential candidate or the flag bearer who is elected cannot come in and instill discipline in the party. It's the party, national executives, the regional executives, the constituency that must instill discipline in the party.
What do you say to people who would be of the opinion that, well, maybe some of you within the party are jostling for national positions, executive positions? So you want to hold the process to ransom. You want to be elected first, so you become the kingmakers of the NPP.
No, but that's the process. The party is built from the base. Peter Kofo said it's the grassroots, the party polling station executives. They are the lifeblood of this party. They're the lifeblood of the party, not those of us at the top. They constitute about 85 to 90% of the electoral college. So that must be your concern. That must be your concern. So that election must be your concern, especially with this expansion, right? Let's go to conference, let's get expansion done, let's fix the party, let's instill discipline.
And this is I mean, I've lost touch of the number of times you said, let's fix the party. It appears to me that there's something particularly wrong with the NPP that you want corrected.
Of course, there's a lot wrong with the party. A party that has gone to a general election in government, we only return with 88 MPs, 41%. Are you seriously telling me that there's nothing wrong with the party? The new patriotic party, yes, since the 2000 elections, has not had less than 100 members in parliament. I think it was under Nana Ohinto that we go 108. And now, under the current general secretary, that we have 88. We've always gone above 110. So the NDC doesn't need us in parliament. They've got 2/3 of parliament to be able to do whatever it is that they want to do. And does that not concern you?
Some say it was the natural 8-year cycle that
No, by national 8-year cycle, NDC didn't lose 100 seats. NDC didn't lose
that much.
Yes. Yes. They lost, they were at about 106 or whatever. We have lost, we have gone below 100 seats. And that does not concern anybody. You don't think that? You see, the trend in this country has told us that if you win parliament, Jubilee House falls as a bonus. So why are you not thinking of winning parliament? Why are you thinking of the presidential candidate? The presidential candidate must come and meet a very formidable, well-oiled party that's going to take them to victory.
Have you personally interacted with some of the executives of the party on this concern?
Of course. Of course.
They're not really...
That's why I'm saying that the whole party machinery has now hijacked the media space. And it's not the way to proceed. You see, it's not the best way to proceed. I was even surprised when I got a call from you to come here, this evening. Yes, because all the media stations have now been hijacked, just singing one voice. But the party is made up of various groups, and you must listen to them all. My colleague, Honorable Yabo Ama, was on CCTV the other night, was talking about the same issues. We have a party to fix. Let's focus on fixing that party. After fixing the party, the delegates will select for us, or we will elect for us who is best placed to lead us to victory. Why are we so interested in the presidential candidate? And I told you, some of us, God willing, when nominations open and we are able to sell our message and are elected, we are going to be the general secretary of a new patriotic party, not for a flag bearer. And it appears now that the general secretary now, sometimes when he speaks and he goes to say, oh, the decision is final, I get worried. Because you know that council cannot take a decision for the party. And that generates a lot of heat in the system.
So you're lacing your boots to contest him?
Well, when nominations open, yes.
Are you not doing this simply because you have personal scores to settle with him as a general secretary of the party?
I don't have any personal scores to settle with anybody in the party. I just believe that we must rebuild the soul of our party. And I believe that the party has enough material out there to be able to take the administration of this party and move it to a point where we just be within a touching distance of the Jubilee House.
And speaking about Honorable Patrick Obama, he's also made some recommendations on what should change about the executives of the party. He seems to be comparing the charisma, the kind of personalities your executives have, as opposed to that of the NDC. Are you two being fair to your national executive, knowing that...
It's not a matter of being fair. It's a matter of what is out there, what is staring you in the face. We shouldn't be using words and semantics to, this is what is staring you in the face.
But you re-elected all of them.
No, but nobody is talking about. Nobody. You see, we are here to talk about the party, not the individuals. So let's talk about the party and what ought to be fixed. Right? If that is fixed and we regain the trust of the Ghanaian people, they see us as a serious political party, right? With discipline, forthrightness, honesty, clarity of thought, and what have you. Ghanaians will naturally gravitate towards us.
What would you have done differently as the General Secretary of the NPP that this current crop of leadership of the party isn't doing now?
Well, I believe that, like I said, I told you that to mount any serious challenge to the presidency of this country, you must have, over 140 seats in parliament. And once you don't achieve that, you failed. You understand? Yes. I mean, John Boadu's tenure gave us 137 plus 1, though we're still in government. But now we are now outside the government, and we've lost 49 seats from 2020. We've lost 49 seats. We lost 32, and John Boadu, we lost 49 now. And if this is not worrying, and your focus about just electing a presidential candidate, to come and do what? Yes, that's the point. To come and do what?
Yeah, but what would you have done differently as the General Secretary of the NPP, a reason for which you would want the delegates to support you?
Yes, let's do the normal things that we've been doing, right? We are in opposition, the noise will come. But if there's a crack, if there's a whip that ought to crack it. Let's instill discipline. Let's go to the polling station. Let's deal with the expansion of the party, the delegate system, right? Yeah. Yes, once conference approves that, now we have a structure. So we now go into the constituency, into the elections. Let's start with polling station, electoral area coordinators, all the way up. And then when that is done, maybe around the last quarter of 2026, we can select the presidential candidate. Right. You will come and meet a very formidable party. And once that person is elected, you see, when President Kufuor was elected in 2000, he didn't start campaigning till very late. Right? President Kufuor, when he was elected in 2008, he didn't start campaigning till after August. And when he started the real campaign. Dr. Baumia was elected in November. He started, I think, the second quarter or so of 2024. So when you are elected, you still don't hit the ground running. You understand? And if they are saying that they need a leader, the leaders must be the national executive officers, not the presidential candidate. But the presidential candidate will just come and lead the machine to victory, right? But before he comes in, the national executives, the regional executives, the constituency executives must be in place to move him. Otherwise, by just electing him now, whoever is elected, and expecting that the party will rally around that person when they have their own elections to contest, I foresee.
If you get the opportunity, you would then become the General Secretary or Chief Scribe of the NPP. What are you bringing on board? Because obviously that will be the question that will be staring you in the face.
Oh, yes.
And you are a former member of parliament. In fact, you never cease to air your views if you feel that something is not going right within the party. What kind of leadership what are you bringing on board to change the face of the
when nominations open, I'll be offering myself to serve as the next General Secretary of the party. Not just for the position, but for a purpose. Right? Yes, for a purpose. And I represent a bridge between the old and the youth. I'm 55 years now. I've been a former NPP UK branch secretary. Came down, part of the campaign teams for Ashanti region 2008, 2012, 2015. I was elected as a parliamentary candidate, became the party's member of parliament for swimming for 2 terms. I served as a deputy minister, in the first term of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's administration. And I'm not afraid to speak truth to power. That's the difference. I'm not beholden to any faction in this party. I believe that we are all first and foremost NPP members. And our job is to make the party formidable and attractive. That's our job.
That's where many believe your weaknesses could arise. The fact that just as you're saying, you bridge the gap between the young and the old. But the older generation, some of them may have concerns with you, given how, of course, you were open. You, in fact, criticized the president even when you were in power. Some say...
I did not criticize the president. I disagree with the president. Let's choose our words carefully. And it wasn't just me. There were about 84 of us who disagreed with the president. What is so challenging about that? So is the president infallible? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Is he not a human being like you and myself sitting here? Yeah, so when people say I didn't criticize the president. I disagreed with the president on the continued tenure of the finance minister. And we've all seen the end result. And I make no bones about that. I make no bones about that.
You feel if the NPP had listened to you...
Not listen to me, I listened to its MPs. Don't just narrow it to me.
Right.
Yes, we're a group. If you say me, then you're not being fair to me.
You were part of the group?
Yes, right. And probably one of his lead advocates, yes. But now, if we were to go and visit President Kufuor now, in his early retirement days, he probably would tell you that there were some things that, given the chance again, I would have done differently. We are all human beings.
We should include listening to you.
Listen to his MPs.
Right.
Listen to his MPs. We went to that election, and I've told you that the economy played a key role, a major role, in why we lost that election. I've told you about the economic hardship, the debt exchange, the loss of goodwill. But it was a major factor. Inflation, rising cost of living, unemployment. It hit us hard in the second term. And the straw that broke the camel's back was the DDEP.
Right.
It wiped away investments, pensions, savings. And people decided not to vote. So are you sure who was in charge of the economy? Leading up to the DDEP. So if you say I criticize, I did not criticize President Kufuor. I disagreed with them. And not only me, about 82, 84 of his members of parliament disagreed with them on the continued tenure of Ken Ofori-Atta. It was a simple matter. No hard feelings. Right? We felt that at that point in time, we needed somebody with fresh face, fresh ideas to come and steer the economy to its final destination. That didn't happen. He left 10 months before the elections. We've all seen the results.
Have you had calls ever since you made this intention known that, well, I want to go into the race as General Secretary of the party, from people who say, well, we think perhaps you are the right man for the job?
Your question again.
Are you getting calls to say, we support you?
Oh, yes, of course. The calls are what have brought us here.
Do you have the numbers?
Of course I do. I mean, yes. I mean, you see, we've gotten to a stage where we feel that we have peacetime leaders and wartime leaders. Winston Churchill was a wartime leader. He won the war in 1945, but lost the general elections. You understand? So seasons call for different kind of leadership. And we believe that we are in a situation now where that some of us who have served the party at various levels to the very top echelons of the governance structure ought to be given the chance to steer the affairs of the party, right? And we say so because Ghanaians are looking for men of integrity, men of credibility, people that they think will speak truth to power. President Kufuor just said today that if you examine the results of 2016, 2020, 2024, that Ghanaian is getting wiser by the day. And they are making extremely good choices. You see, if you don't listen to them, you'll be quiet, they'll punish you with a thumb. And that's what happened.
Let's talk about recovery of the NPP in terms of your political fortunes. 88 now in Parliament in terms of the parliamentary seats. Do you feel you can, I mean, 2028 is ample time enough to recover and to get all that you have lost, including that of the presidential
I've just told you what President Kufuor just said today. I don't know whether you want me to read it. But President Kufuor just told us today that let me quickly read what he said today. He says, if we examine the electoral history of 2016, 2020, and 2024 with sincerity,
right,
we will recognize that the Ghanaian electorate has matured and cannot be deceived. And it's a fact.
Will the NPP make it in 2028?
Yes. Extremely possible. Extremely possible. There are so many seats that we lost. We lost because our people didn't turn out to vote. It's not because of popularity of John Dramani Mahama. Yes.
When you make that argument, the NDC obviously would disagree with you.
Yeah, well, but so you go for the data. In 2020, what was the figures? In 2024, what was the figures? The figures will just bear you out. That
well, our permutation is that the NPP appears to be going hard on your Ashanti votes because you feel that's where you've lost a lot.
No,
people just come out to vote.
No, that's very, very, very unfair. Right. There are 4 regions in this country that we don't have parliamentary seats. And I think there are about 4 that we only have one member of parliament. Right? Upper East, no MP. Upper West, no MP. Uti, no MP. Volta, no MP. Ahafo, 1 MP. Mono, 1 MP. Mono East, 1 MP. What else? I think about 4. And then the others that we lost, Central Region, 23 seats. We only won 4. Greater Accra, 34. We only won 4 or 5. So we've lost the entire country. Yes, we have lost the entire country. Yes, so to say that it's only the Ashantis that didn't come out, the Ashanti vote, no, I don't subscribe to that. Yes, they didn't vote. Yes, about 500,000, 600,000 people didn't vote in Ashanti region. But it cuts across the country. So clearly, Ghanaians were not happy with us.
And will they be happy with you in the next 4 years?
Yes.
That's the concern.
Yes.
Because going by the natural 8-year cycle, some are saying that you would need an extra 4 to return to power.
Well, I disagree because it depends on how John Mahama will not be seeking another term of office. So after 18 months, that's why I kept using the word 18. After 18 months, you see the cracks in the NDC. They will have their own succession issues, right? A lot of their MPs in Parliament will be very disappointed, dissatisfied with them because, they probably didn't get what they were expecting. It's happened to us, so we know that it will happen to them. Then the cracks will begin to appear. So that is when the mature leadership and the very dynamic kind of leadership that we are all expecting to see after the conduct of the national elections will inure to the benefit of the NPP. And I'm pretty sure that when their own succession issues start in the party, it will bring a lot of issues to the fore. Yes.
If the man, Eugene Boahiencho, is not elected as the General Secretary of the NPP, who else should it go to?
That's a choice for the delegates. But I want all of them to vote for me, and I know they will vote for me.
Including President Akufo-Addo?
Why not? I voted for him all his life.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
So it's time he reciprocates.
Have you spoken to him ever since the election?
Oh, I've not met him.
Yeah.
I've not met him in a while. But I don't think there's not a problem. He knows me. He knows what I stand for. So I don't know why Ghanaians think I have a problem. I don't have a problem with him. I've not met him. When we meet, we just, talk, and if there's anything to say, we'll say it to each other. But, I've been in Nanaku for over 2 decades. So he's not an enemy. He's not my opponent. I supported him, fought for him to become president. So, the fact that I disagree with him doesn't mean we should be enemies. I don't know why people think that.
You feel people take it out of context?
Oh, yes. You see, like the Chief Justice, what happens today? The Chief Justice goes to hold a press conference because she's not happy with certain actions of the committee. So does it mean that the Chief Justice is being rebellious? I'm asking you.
She's sharing a view of...
Yes. So the fact that I did not agree with the president on the continued tenure of Ken Ofori-Atta doesn't mean that the president is my enemy. You understand? Yes, so people should put that at the back of their mind. We are doing politics. We are politicians. I'm entitled to disagree with anything. Like you sit here, you're entitled to disagree with your employers. That doesn't mean that you hate working for multimedia. You understand? But if there's a certain principle that you stand on that. And I think that the results of these elections and the Okwe Committee, right, the findings of the Okwe Committee have corroborated our position whilst we're in government. You
feel vindicated?
Oh, absolutely vindicated. Absolutely vindicated. Myself and my colleagues. So whatever it is that we were saying, we saw it. That this thing was going to happen. If something was not done, we raised it. It wasn't done. The repercussions are here with us. And that's why I said to you that now in his quiet moments as former President Akufo-Addo, he's probably reflecting, on all this. He said, where did I go wrong? He's a human being. Maybe if I had changed him earlier, maybe if I've done this, maybe if I had done this, we would have lost, but the margin would not have been this abysmal. Human nature.
And the former finance minister, we understand, is not too well. The OSP is on his back. You feel he should open himself up to accountability?
Yeah, everybody. I was an appointee in the first term. If today the NIB should say I should submit myself before the law, I'm not bigger than the law. Nobody is bigger than the law. So long as you are going into politics, and so long as you are going to accept an appointment to become a minister, a deputy minister, an agency head, know that the day of accountability will come. And when it comes, just go and face the law. If you have done nothing untoward, why should you be scared of the law? Yes. So we shouldn't try. You see, the MPP is made up of individuals. We should not be thinking that every MPP member is a saint. In the same vein, we should not be making the party a sanctuary for criminals. Do you understand? Yes, if somebody has committed a crime, let them go and face the law. But if somebody is being harassed or being intimidated without any shred of evidence of wrongdoing, then the party must rally behind that person. You see? But we cannot be saying, but if you continue to do that, then it's like we are providing haven, refuge, sanctuary for people who are ordinary criminals. You understand? But if you go, because there are so many people who have been going to NIB, Yoko, we don't hear about it. People have gone there, they probably ask, oh, did you know about this? Oh, yes, I did. No, I didn't. You're out of there. So why should it be a big deal that you are subjecting yourself to the nation's security apparatus for your term in office or for stewardship of a ministry? Why should that be a problem?
We're wrapping up shortly, and I'll take your message to the grassroots of the NPP. But Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was your last leader in the last elections.
The last presidential candidate is not a leader.
Okay.
You guys in the media keep twisting it. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was the last presidential candidate of the NPP.
Not the leader?
No. The leader is always the chairman.
He's to blame for what happened?
Blame him for what?
I mean, 38% plus, it's not encouraging.
No, so you blame the party. That's why I say, see, if you don't distinguish between the personality of Bawumia and the NPP as a party, you always be finding yourself in such a situation. Bawumia led the party, yes, to his abysmal defeat, yes. But was the party formidable to win the elections? The question must ask yourself is that, that's why I keep saying that, do not be a general secretary for a flag bearer. You're a general secretary of the party. And when the party is formidable, and you go to an election and you lose, Dr. Bawumia didn't lose the election. MPP lost the election.
There are so many party faithful listening to us now. Let me take your final word to them and what you seek to communicate to them as we wrap up this call.
Oh, wow. I think on this one, it's going to be a tough one, but I'll do my best. I have something here to tell them, but oh boy, you've caught me out there. You've caught me out there. I think I will be a more credible, reform-driven servant of the party, unifying solutions. Like all these people, I've worked with them closely. Dr. Bawumia, I worked with when I was a secretary to the Electoral Reforms Committee in 2014. The committee was set up. He was the chairman, I was the secretary. All the names you've been mentioning. Honorable Kennedy Japan, I was in parliament with him for 8 years. Honorable Brian Champon, 8 years. Osayi Waduchum. We even belong to the same family. So, I was there with him for 8 years. Honorable Ache Jakon is like an avuncular figure in my life.
Right.
Honorable Japon is like a big brother.
Right.
Adenimo. These are all party people. And in the event of me becoming general secretary, what I do is to ensure that it's a level playing field.
For everyone.
It's for everyone. So that when anybody loses, it's easier for them to come back and work for the party to win. Let me tell you something. In 2000,
We need to go. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but of course, this conversation will happen again. It's just the start of it. But he's told you he's in for the race. Eugene Bochi joining us here on UPFront. I am Blessed Sogah. And of course, next is the news. But thank you for your time.